Ariana Hale moved through the vast halls of the Cross Mansion with the grace of someone who had learned to carry both hope and heaviness at the same time. At 8 months pregnant, she often paused to steady her breath, one hand instinctively resting on her belly as if reassuring her unborn child that everything would be all right. From the outside, her life sparkled: crystal chandeliers, marble floors, designer art pieces, and rooms curated by the most expensive interior designers in the city. People envied them, admiring their picture-perfect lifestyle, the glamorous events they attended, and the millions of followers who worshipped Damien Cross as if he were a modern-day celebrity. Yet only Ariana knew that beneath all that polish lay a silence that grew colder with each passing day. Damien, once attentive and warm, now existed in a world of digital screens, camera lights, and endless notifications. Ariana had lost count of how many dinners he canceled at the last minute, how many times he returned home smelling of expensive cologne that wasn't his, or how many nights he sat glued to his phone with a smirk he tried to hide. He claimed it was work, that fame required effort, that his followers needed him. But Ariana felt him slipping away, piece by piece, like she was watching someone she loved dissolve into pixels and praise from strangers. She tried holding on, preparing his favorite meals, asking about his day, reminding him of their baby's kicks, but he responded with irritation, as if her presence interrupted a life he preferred. Still, Ariana clung to hope. She believed marriage meant patience, that people went through phases, that the man she married still existed somewhere beneath the fame. What she didn't know was that Damien had already replaced real love with the intoxicating rush of online attention, leaving her to hold the fragments of a life that was no longer truly hers. Luna Sky entered Damien's life the same way she entered every digital space, boldly, glittering with confidence, and hungry for the kind of attention that made her feel alive. With millions of followers hanging on to every selfie and scandal, she knew exactly how to capture a man like Damien Cross. It started with playful comments under his posts, little compliments crafted to stroke his ego. "You're killing it, no one does luxury like you, imagine what we could create together." Each message landed precisely where she intended, right in the soft spot of Damien's growing vanity. When Damien replied to her first private message, Luna smiled, knowing she had found her next ladder to climb. Their conversations quickly shifted from harmless to heated, inside jokes, late-night voice notes, and flirtation that bled into emotional manipulation. Damien, starved for admiration, soaked it up like oxygen. He loved the way Luna praised him, the way she made him feel powerful, untouchable, desired. It didn't take long before he arranged their first secret meeting under the pretense of networking. Luna showed up dressed to dazzle, speaking with the seductive confidence of someone who knew exactly what she wanted: him, his fame, and the life that came with it. Their relationship escalated recklessly. Behind closed doors, Luna whispered poison into his ear, telling him Ariana was boring, holding him back, too emotional, too ordinary for a star like him. Damien believed her because she fed the part of him that craved freedom from responsibility. Their private rendezvous soon turned into playful, suggestive interactions during live streams, moments Luna orchestrated to hint at their connection without fully revealing it. Ariana, watching Damien's online behavior shift, felt the presence of another woman even before she knew her name. Though Luna remained in the shadows, her influence seeped into every part of Ariana's once stable life, quietly dismantling everything she held dear. Ariana began to notice the subtle shifts that transformed her once welcoming home into a place of tension and unease. Damien had started hiding his phone, sliding it into drawers or carrying it constantly, as if protecting some secret from her. He locked certain rooms without explanation and insisted on installing cameras throughout the mansion under the guise of content security for his growing online empire. Every time Ariana questioned him, asking why he needed so many cameras or why he was always texting in private, he snapped, his temper flaring over the smallest of things, or worse, gaslight her with comments that made her doubt her own perception. The air in the mansion grew cold, heavy with unspoken anger and simmering frustration. Ariana felt a suffocating isolation as she moved from room to room, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy despite the growing tension. Even in her late stages of pregnancy, she found herself carrying out chores alone, preparing meals, arranging appointments, managing household errands, while Damien disappeared for long nights under the excuse of networking or business trips. She sometimes caught glimpses of him leaving in sleek black cars with someone who fit none of the descriptions of his supposed business associates. Ariana attempted to bridge the widening gap, trying to communicate with patience and love. She would approach him gently, hoping for conversation, an explanation, or even a hint of affection. But Damien increasingly treated her presence as a nuisance, an obstacle to his ambitions rather than a partner to share life with. Each failed attempt to reach him left Ariana more drained, more anxious, and more acutely aware that the home she had once considered a sanctuary had turned into a gilded cage. She clung to her hope into the unborn child in her belly, praying for a miracle, unaware that Damien's attention had shifted irreversibly to someone else. Damien and Luna had perfected their new public performance, presenting themselves as the luxe duo to the world. What started as subtle online flirtations soon turned into bold live streams where they laughed, teased, and flirted with an intimacy designed to capture maximum attention. Followers poured in, mesmerized by the chemistry between the two, while Damien openly mocked jealous wives in his playful banter. Luna's laughter was light, musical, and perfectly timed, as if she had rehearsed every expression to pull Damien further into her orbit, and further away from Ariana. Ariana had initially stumbled upon one of these live streams by accident. She had gone to check on Damien, only to find herself watching the man she had spent years trusting, praising Luna in ways that made her stomach twist. "Luna's support is unmatched," Damien said casually, tossing a smile at the camera. "She really gets me, unlike someone who gets emotional because of pregnancy hormones." The words hit Ariana like a cold, sharp blade. She sank to the floor, clutching her belly, the glow from the live stream illuminating her tear-streaked face as the world watched her humiliation unfold, even if they didn't know her identity. Luna leaned closer to Damien, her voice low and intoxicating. "Real men don't let anyone hold them back," she whispered, each word carefully crafted to cut any lingering tie Damien might have had with Ariana. The power of the moment wasn't just in Damien's betrayal, it was in his performance, in how they turned a private, intimate humiliation into entertainment for thousands of strangers. Ariana remained in the dark, feeling invisible and betrayed, witnessing the man she loved ridicule her while smiling into a camera lens. Her heart ached with disbelief, every laugh, every shared glance between Damien and Luna, felt like a physical blow. In that cold, dimly lit room, Ariana realized that she wasn't just losing her husband, she was watching the life she had known dissolve into a cruel, performative spectacle she had no control over. The afternoon sunlight spilled through the tall windows of the Cross mansion, casting long shadows across the polished floors, when Damien arrived with Luna by his side. Before Ariana could speak, she realized a live stream was already running, her husband's phone balanced on a tripod, the camera capturing every angle of the entrance hall. The notification alerts chimed endlessly on Damien's social media accounts, and within seconds, thousands of followers flooded the screen, eagerly anticipating the drama that was about to unfold. Excitement buzzed through the digital crowd as Damien's smirk grew more pronounced, and Luna's eyes sparkled with calculated amusement. With a slow, deliberate motion, Damien handed Ariana a crisp envelope. She looked down at it, recognizing the official letter immediately, an eviction notice. Her breath caught in her throat, and her heart thudded painfully in her chest. "You no longer belong in my house," Damien declared to the camera, his voice calm but sharp, as if announcing a business decision rather than evicting the woman who carried his child. Luna's smirk widened beside him, a silent affirmation that she had orchestrated this moment as skillfully as any scene for their online audience. Ariana's hands trembled as she clutched the envelope, her voice quivering as she begged for time, for understanding, for the smallest shred of compassion. "Please. I'm pregnant. I need a little more time," she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. But Damien barely glanced at her, turning instead toward the camera. "I'm choosing my freedom," he said, his words precise, rehearsed, and cruelly performative. Comments poured in, cheering him on, praising his courage, and encouraging his bold move, completely oblivious to the shattering reality behind the screen. Ariana felt the room spin around her. The house that had once been her sanctuary now felt like a stage for her humiliation, and the man she had trusted most had become a stranger, performing her pain for strangers to applaud. Ariana's hands shook as she grabbed a small suitcase, her fingers fumbling with the zipper as if the motion could steady her racing heart. The air felt thick, oppressive, charged with the tension that had been building for months. Every step toward the front door felt heavier than the last, each one weighed down by betrayal, fear, and the knowledge that Damien and Luna's eyes, and an entire online audience, were on her. As she reached the doorstep, pain exploded in her lower abdomen. Warm liquid pooled beneath her, and she gasped sharply, realizing her water had broken. Panic gripped her chest, and her knees buckled slightly as she clutched her stomach, crying out for help that seemed absent. The live stream continued, capturing every terrifying, intimate detail of her struggle. Luna's laughter rang out nervously, forced and hollow, as she whispered, "OMG, accidental content," as though the moment could be dismissed with a casual joke. Damien's gaze flickered briefly toward Ariana, a flash of uncertainty crossing his face, but only for a heartbeat. Almost instantly, he refocused on the camera, positioning himself for the perfect shot while his followers typed away, unaware of the humanity unraveling before them. Comments streamed in, some cruelly mocking her, others pleading for him to intervene, to do something to help the woman collapsing under the weight of betrayal and pain. Ariana's vision blurred, tears mixing with sweat as contractions racked her body. Each breath was a struggle, each second stretching into agony. She fell to the steps, unable to stand, her suitcase tumbling beside her. The cold stone pressed into her skin, grounding her in a reality that felt unreal. She was completely exposed, vulnerable, and terrified, yet the world watched as if she were entertainment. In that moment, Ariana's entire life narrowed down to the singular thought of protecting her unborn child, praying for someone, anyone, to step in, as the cameras mercilessly continued to record her humiliation. Within hours, the clip of Ariana's water breaking on the doorstep had exploded across every corner of the internet. Social media feeds were flooded with the horrifying footage, captions condemning Damien for prioritizing cameras over compassion, and thousands of reposts ensured the moment reached millions. Public outrage ignited like wildfire, people across the globe expressing disbelief, anger, and sheer horror that a man could so callously record his heavily pregnant wife in distress rather than helping her. Damien, once celebrated for his charm and online charisma, suddenly became the target of scorn, ridicule, and widespread condemnation. News channels and online media outlets picked up the story, replaying the clip repeatedly as experts discussed the ethical and moral failures involved. Headlines screamed about the pregnant wife humiliated on livestream and influencer husband's cruel betrayal, cementing Damien's rapid fall from grace. Major brands, eager to distance themselves from the scandal, terminated contracts, withdrew sponsorships, and released official statements condemning his behavior. What had once been Damien's empire of adoration and wealth crumbled before his eyes as the platforms that amplified his fame now amplified his disgrace. Online, a massive movement of support for Ariana emerged almost immediately. The hashtag Justice for Ariana trended worldwide, uniting mothers, activists, and ordinary people who could not fathom such cruelty. Support groups offered resources, advice, and emotional backing, while influencers and celebrities shared messages of solidarity, ensuring Ariana's plight could no longer be ignored. The same digital world that Damien had worshipped and manipulated now tore him apart piece by piece, exposing him as a man who valued fame and validation over love, empathy, and human decency. In every corner of the internet, the narrative was clear: Damien Cross had chosen spectacle over family, and the consequences would be felt for a lifetime. Nathan Reed had been scrolling through his social media feed when the live stream popped up, catching his attention with the chaotic scene unfolding before him. He recognized the opulent Cross mansion immediately, and his heart sank as he saw Ariana, 8 months pregnant, struggling on the doorstep while Damien and Luna performed for the camera. Without a second thought, Nathan grabbed his keys and drove to the scene, urgency propelling him through the streets. By the time he arrived, Ariana was trembling, clutching her swollen belly, her breaths coming in sharp, panicked gasps. "Miss, I'm here to help," Nathan said gently, his voice calm and steady, a stark contrast to the chaos around her. Ariana looked up through blurred, tear-filled eyes, barely comprehending that someone had come to her aid. Contractions racked her body, each one stronger than the last, and fear gripped her as she realized she might not make it inside without help. Nathan wrapped an arm around her, steadying her as they carefully navigated the steps and walked toward his car. Every jolt of the vehicle, every honk from traffic, seemed magnified in her heightened state of panic, but Nathan's unwavering presence gave her a fragile sense of safety. By the time they arrived at the hospital, Ariana's emotional and physical exhaustion was nearly overwhelming. Nathan guided her to the entrance, spoke calmly to the staff, and stayed with her through the initial triage process, offering quiet reassurance that anchored her fraying mind. As nurses took over, Ariana felt a profound clarity settle within her. Strangers, with no obligation or expectation, had shown her more compassion, more humanity, than the man she had trusted, loved, and carried a child with for nearly 9 months. The realization was painful, but it also planted the seeds of inner strength. For the first time in weeks, Ariana felt a flicker of hope, a belief that she could survive this ordeal and protect the life growing inside her, even without Damien by her side. Damien's carefully curated world of fame and influence began to crumble almost instantly. Within hours of the viral livestream, sponsors that had once fought to feature him pulled their contracts, distancing themselves from the scandal he had created. Luxury brands, tech companies, and lifestyle endorsements all vanished, leaving a hollow echo where his empire had stood. Social media platforms, under pressure from public outrage, suspended or limited his accounts, preventing him from posting or controlling the narrative. Damien, who had thrived on attention and adoration, now found himself stripped of the very validation he had chased so obsessively. The mansion, once a symbol of wealth and power, became a fortress surrounded by reporters, cameras, and relentless questions. Flashing lights illuminated Damien's frustrated face as journalists shouted for answers, each inquiry a reminder of the global condemnation he faced. Luna, once gleeful in her partnership with Damien, panicked. She lashed out at him during private confrontations, blaming him for every misstep, every viral reaction, and every contract lost. Their relationship deteriorated rapidly, arguments grew vicious, videos were hastily deleted, and what had once been playful flirtation turned into bitter recrimination. Desperate to regain control of his reputation, Damien attempted a public apology, recording a polished statement that aired across multiple platforms. But the damage was irreparable. Viewers, sponsors, and social commentators were unforgiving, seeing him as a man who had chosen cameras over compassion, fame over family. Damien became a symbol of heartlessness, forever linked to the horrifying moment he had broadcast his pregnant wife suffering for online applause. No amount of explanation, charm, or money could erase the perception that he had failed not only as a husband but as a human being. Once celebrated, Damien Cross was now remembered as the influencer who lost everything because he valued spectacle over love. Ariana's labor was long and exhausting, but surrounded by compassionate nurses and attentive doctors, she brought a healthy baby girl into the world. The moment she held her daughter in her arms, tears streamed down her face, not only from the pain of childbirth but from the relief, the overwhelming love, and the knowledge that she had survived the betrayal that had threatened to destroy her. She named her daughter Hope, a symbol of resilience and the light that had grown from the darkest moments of her life. Each tiny heartbeat, each grasp of her little hand, reminded Ariana that life could still be beautiful, even after heartbreak. In the weeks that followed, Ariana focused on rebuilding her life. She sought legal counsel and filed action against Damien, ensuring she would have financial stability and full custody of Hope. The court proceedings were tense, but Ariana's strength and evidence left little room for doubt. She emerged victorious, not just in a legal sense, but emotionally, reclaiming control over a future that Damien had tried to steal from her. Damien watched from afar, powerless as the world turned against him, and celebrated Ariana's courage and dignity. His attempts to salvage his reputation or mend what he had broken fell flat, leaving him isolated and defined by his cruelty. Ariana slowly settled into a new routine, one defined not by wealth or social media fame, but by love, peace, and authenticity. She decorated her home modestly, filled it with warmth, and created a nurturing environment for Hope, where laughter replaced fear and safety replaced uncertainty. Though her mansion had been taken, and though the past still cast long shadows, Ariana realized she had gained something far more valuable, a life filled with dignity, courage, and true beginnings. The cruelty she had endured no longer defined her. Instead, it had forged a woman and a mother stronger than she had ever imagined, ready to face the world anew with her daughter by her side.